What's going on, everybody? It's Horse Beef here talking about Ilia Topuria once again because he did tweet saying camp has begun, and there have been some leaks going around talking about Ilia Topuria fighting in the main event of International Fight Week, which only makes sense. The UFC does have to scramble, and it seems like they are scrambling to put together some kind of a super card to get the fans going, which is good for us, and obviously their desperation because they are trying to look for a deal for another streaming platform right now as they're not partnered any longer with ESPN. So they are, of course, looking to show these streaming platforms that they can bring in numbers. So presumably we will get a stacked International Fight Week card. But the question is, who is going to be fighting on this card? I have a prediction that I would like to put out there. I think that Ilia Topuria and Tom Aspinall will both fight. I think co-main and main events respectively interchangeable. I think it depends on who Ilia and who Tom will be fighting. My prediction is that Tom will not be fighting John Jones, and I think that's all but confirmed at this point. I think he will be fighting Tsarukyan, and then which is an awesome fight, by the way. I think that's a great stylistic matchup. Both of the, I would say, the most technical heavyweights in the sport right now, aside from a John Jones, of course, and that could be an awesome fight. It could be an awesome fight that I could honestly see going either way because Tsarukyan is a pretty elusive heavyweight and may actually be tough for Tom Aspinall to land on him the way that he's been able to land on his opponents thus far. But I'm mostly interested in Ilia Topuria's situation, and I would like to speculate here about who he's going to be fighting. Now, there are many different options here, with the main one, the preferred one, of course, being Islam Makhachev, but I'm currently eliminating him from the running because I don't believe that he will fight for International Fight Week. I don't think so. I do think he is genuinely going to sit out and wait for the winner of Bilal and JDM and then decide what to do next. I do think that news was true. I think that news is true. But if not Islam, then who can it be? And I have three names that come to mind, and the only three names that really make sense when I think about fighting for the vacant lightweight title. It's either going to be Ilia versus Charles, Ilia versus Arman, and there's even a possibility that, I mean, listen, the fight fan in me wants to see it, but the Dustin Poirier fan in me does not want to see it, and that is, of course, Ilia Topuria versus Dustin Poirier, because there was a theory shared by Henry Cejudo that I actually don't hate really at all, and that is that Dustin Poirier stated that he wants legend fights only. Ilia Topuria then announces his really dumb name change or nickname change to La Leyenda, aka the Legend in Spanish. So that could be alluding to a potential matchup between Dustin Poirier and Ilia Topuria. Now, listen to me right now. I don't want to see that fight, but at the same time, I do want to see that fight because of the fireworks that would be guaranteed there. I mean, is it possible that Dustin Poirier could actually get it done against Ilia? In my opinion, yes. Yes, because even though Dustin Poirier is a former featherweight, that does not matter because he filled out big time at 155, and he is actually on the bigger side as far as his 155ers go. So anyone who says, or the fucking idiot fans coming around, you're just going to say that Islam defended against another 145er. No one gives a shit because it's quite factual at this point and quite well known that Dustin Poirier is a big-ass 155er, and he's bigger than, like, Colby Covington, for example. So no one gives a shit about these stupid, retarded fan arguments trying to take away from Islam, right? They're stupid as fuck, right? Everyone who Islam has fought has also been a fucking fetus at one point, right? Are we going to hold that over Islam said, well, I mean, Islam's not that great because he only beat fetuses. No one gives a fuck. These are all stupid arguments, hypothetical nonsense conjecture being used to justify the best fight in the UFC not being made because fans are scared of their favorite fighter losing a fight. How sad is that shit? It is ridiculous, right? Real Islam fans out there, and I know there are a lot of you guys in my comments as well, right? You have the ones who are bitching and crying, oh my god, oh, you're so mean to my daddy Islam. Then you get like the Chad Islam fans who come in here and say, bro, I agree, Islam should fight him, Islam is ducking him. These are the types of fans that we need in this sport, not these weird fucking glory hunters trying to skirt competition on behalf of another man. It's super weak and soft, and like I said, you are glory hunters. You are the same people who will support a team like Real Madrid or a Man City for the express purpose that you know that they will win majority of the time, because it's easy to be a fan of these teams, or in this case, fighters. But now that Islam Makhachev is the subject of some criticism and he's now being put under the microscope, these fans are just reaching so far. They're reaching for those grapes, man, but we're already sounding like a violin with that cheese and wine or whatever the fuck Tito Ortiz said, right? It's crazy. They're reaching for those grapes, bro. It's next level. You can prove them wrong, and that's very telling of society nowadays. Like, you can prove someone wrong to their face, show them direct proof of exactly why they're incorrect about a statement, and they will reach deep into their cerebellum to pull out any sort of mental gymnastic argument to try and skirt around taking any accountability. That is these fans. These fans are those types of people. But of course I get sidetracked talking shit about the fans once again because I was planning on talking about the matchups here, but yeah, we already spoke about the Dustin Poirier one. I think Dustin Poirier could beat Ilia, to be quite honest. I think if Ilia just boxes with Dustin, then of course Dustin always has a chance because he happens to be one of the best boxers. I do think Ilia represents a step forward, right? A step in evolution, especially when it comes to throwing long combinations, angling off, right? Pivoting. Everything that Ilia does in the boxing is just technically what you're supposed to do. And I think the way that he's implemented that into MMA, right? The way that he's implemented shoulder rolling, like Philly shell, like proper boxing defense in MMA, combined with the high level offense that he employs, it just makes me believe that Dustin Poirier would get starched here at some point. He would get clipped on the chin. And even though Dustin Poirier has never shown to be chinny really at any part of his career, maybe when he was at 145, but it's really just been flash in the pan knockouts where he gets caught with the perfect shot, right? He got caught with the perfect shot by Michael Johnson, got caught with the perfect shot by Justin Gaethje. So he's not chinny. However, I don't like his chances against Ilia Topuria, but at least it would be a banger for as long as it lasts. But I think the most likely scenario is that it'll be Charles versus Ilia. I think that's very, very likely. Charles has been constantly bitching and whining about wanting a title shot despite just beating Michael Chandler again. Like in that case, Paddy Pimblett deserves a title shot too, which he doesn't, of course. But if it is for the vacant title, if Islam either relinquishes the title or if he's stripped, then sure. Charles versus Ilia is the fight that makes sense, even though the fight that makes the most sense to me would actually be Ilia versus Arman, though. But as an Ilia fan, as somebody who wants to see him eventually fight Islam Makhachev, I'm not too sure if I like that matchup very much. Like, I understand that Ilia is much better on the feet than Arman. Arman obviously has a much higher level, much more varied kicking game. He is majorly a kicker when it comes to his striking. Doesn't have the best hands in the world at all, and he does leave himself open. He definitely does. Like Arman Tsarukyan, he has a chin, he has that big ass blockhead, but he doesn't have the greatest striking defense in the world, and I do think Ilia could crack him. Like, I believe, if I remember correctly, Arman did get cracked and put on wobbly legs by that random Brazilian who he took on short notice. Who was that? I think it was Joaquin Silva, right? Cracked him, put him on wobbly legs and put him in real danger, right? And that was just by some random fucking Joaquin Silva juicehead Brazilian. So I'm not too sure if I love Arman's chances in the stand-up, but then again, man, if Arman decides to mix it up and shoot on Ilia, which of course he would, who knows how that would go, because Arman is a physical monstrosity of a human. And I have already spoken about this match, but I believe I spoke about all these matchups and how I think they would go. I believe Ilia Topuria beats Dustin, beats Charles, but honestly speaking, man, Arman is a tough matchup for him and is, in my opinion, a 50-50. The same way that Ilia versus Islam Makhachev to me is like a 50-50. Maybe like 51-49 split where I'm leaning towards Ilia Topuria. But that's why these fights are so good. So I'm hoping that if it's not Ilia versus Islam, that it is actually Ilia versus Arman for the belt, because that is the true vacant title fight that should take place if Islam is not involved here. And we just haven't really seen Ilia have to grapple with someone like Arman at 155, which is exactly why we're pushing so hard for this fight, because we don't know what would happen. This is quite literally the best fight, and I don't want this fight to happen just because I want Ilia to win and because I think Ilia will win, because this is the closest thing to a 50-50 I've ever seen, and that's why this is such a sick fight. Right, Islam, he showed some frailties against Dustin Poirier in the boxing, and if Dustin Poirier is landing those 1-2s on Islam, then what can Ilia potentially do to him? What can Ilia potentially do to Islam once Islam starts slowing down? Because Islam, I believe, has to get Ilia out of there within the first couple of rounds to avoid slowing. And once he does slow, we see those frailties really come to the forefront, like him lazily reaching into clinch right for that tie clinch. Can get him hurt. Like we saw Dustin Poirier rip into the body. I don't know why he wasn't ripping to the body and more to the head in those clinch scenarios, right? We saw with Paul Hughes against Usman, for example, right? Usman did have some similar tendencies to the tendencies that Islam does show once he starts to fade a little bit. And I believe Ilia Topuria is the perfect type of fighter to exploit those frailties. And also you look at his stance, he stands very low to the ground and he's always ready to sprawl. He's a very high-level sprawler, but at the same time, we saw Bryce Mitchell take him down, right? So if Bryce Mitchell could take him down, presumably so, the much bigger and much more high-level grappler Islam Makhachev should be able to take him down, and that's why this is so intriguing. And all of you fans, right? Ali Abdelaziz, Khabib Nurmagomedov, Javier Mendez, all of you weirdos, trying to deprive us of this matchup, you can all kick rocks, because at the end of the day, whether Ilia is fighting Islam on International Fight Week or not, at least Ilia is getting what he deserves, and that is a shot at 155 gold. And at least Islam will not hold up the division, and I have to give him respect for that. Presumably, but that's just assuming that he does relinquish the title or vacates, or is going to be the one fighting Ilia Topuria, because like I said, we have no confirmation of this yet. Although I would be very surprised if it is Islam, but if it is him, then I will 100% rescind my statements about Islam Makhachev being a duck himself, and I'll pin it all on Khabib, Ali Abdelaziz, and Javier Mendez, because I don't think either three of those dudes want Islam to take that fight. So if Islam does take that fight, then of course he gets all of my respect, because like I said, I respect Islam quite a bit as a fighter, although I do not respect the way that he's been talking, at least the way that his team has been talking. Not Islam himself, but his team. His team have been talking crazy, and they've been making him look bad. So, like I said, if Islam does take this fight, I will take all of my criticisms away, right? I will rescind all of that, and I will just simply give my respect to this man, because at the end of the day, as a fight fan, all I want is the best to fight the best, and Ilia Topuria versus Islam Makhachev is the epitome of the best fighting the best, and it's as simple as that, right? And none of this, you have to earn this, earn that, because that's never been a question about any other champion trying to move up and challenge for double champ status. There's never a question of, are you going to earn this or earn that, right? Did Izzy have to earn it against Jan Blachowicz? Nah, Jan Blachowicz took the fucking fight, right? Did John Jones have to prove himself at heavyweight before fighting for the undisputed championship? No, he did not. Did Henry Cejudo have to prove himself at bantamweight before moving up and challenge for double champ status? No, he did not. Did TJ Dillashaw have to prove himself at 125 before moving down? No, he did not. Did Conor McGregor have to prove himself before moving up to 155 to become double champ? No, he did not. Did Daniel Cormier have to prove himself? No, he did not. But everything must be different for Ilia Topuria, because he's just simply too confident, I suppose. And that's what I think it might actually just come down to. I think it just might come down to the fact that Ilia Topuria, and the way that he expresses his confidence, actually has people shaken up. It has people legitimately shaken up, because they cannot even handle this scenario and the shitstorm that would come their way, right? And the shit talk that would happen online. If Ilia Topuria, after all of this shit talk, right, that gay-ass nickname changed to La Leyenda, and he still goes out there and he sleeps Islam Makhachev, they cannot handle that happening, so they don't even want us, the fans, or the fighters to even have the opportunity to see what happens, because they just don't want the nightmare scenario to take place, because they're bitch-made fans. And it's as simple as that, guys. Now, of course, this video went from me trying to talk about potential matchups to being the bulk of it about shit-talking fans again, but I know you guys enjoy that. So if you enjoyed the video, let me know what you guys thought. I will post another video, more horse beef type tier list tomorrow, so look forward to that 100%, guys. And I appreciate you watching as always, and I will see you on the next one.